I tried Stephen Hendry's 3 best snooker tips for a week, and here's what happened. So what do I need to do? The first tip is about power shots, and Stephen explains it's better to play these shots smoother rather than quicker. Instead of creating power by striking the cue ball faster, instead you want a longer, smoother backswing and then a long, smooth follow through. And you do this by increasing the distance between your bridge hand and the cue ball. And this might solve a problem I've been having for a while, which is striking the cue ball before I'm ready to. And on the more powerful shots, that's causing my cue to jump up in the air. I said recently that one of my goals for the season is to prevent this from happening, but I found if I increase the distance between my bridge hand and the cue ball, it actually makes it easier to keep my cue level. But before we go any further, something Stephen didn't point out is if you move your bridge hand back, you're also going to have to adjust the position of your grip, otherwise you're simply not going to be in the right place. I can't even hit the ball there. So you have to put your grip in a position where it's pointing vertically down at the floor when you're touching the ball, or roughly about there. So if I increase the distance between the cue ball and my bridge on the more powerful shots, then the cue actually stays on my bridge, and that felt a lot easier. The second tip is to use side spin to help keep control of the cue ball. Using side spin can greatly affect the way the cue ball reacts off the cushion. Right hand side got me on the black there, but left hand side makes me head up towards the pink. And using side spin like this can help the cue ball speed up around the cushions, meaning you don't have to play the shot with so much speed. But you don't want to be overdoing it. As someone who regularly applies maximum side spin to the shot, Stephen's advice suggests that a lot of the time I might be overdoing it, and I'd be far better off striking the cue ball a lot closer to the centre. So I'm not using that much side spin when that would probably do. I know I often play shots with a lot of side spin when I don't really need to, which isn't so much of a problem here where I'm used to the table, but when I go somewhere else it takes me a little while to learn how much side I need, so backing it off a little bit would probably be a good idea. The third is simpler because it's just to cue up along the bulk line and pretend to play shots and see how well you're cueing. Now this could be really helpful because I know my cue action's pretty similar on most shots, but then there's the odd one where I just don't quite hit the ball the same, and this can result in me missing. This means when you play a shot perfectly straight along the bulk line, you can work out the position of your grip, because if the position of your grip is in the same place every time, you should end up with the same result, and that means you should continuously play the shot a lot straighter. And cueing along the bulk line like this allow me to discover that when I finish playing the shot, sometimes my little finger ends up in this position, which often causes me to miss. But if I end up with my little finger in this position, I'm far more likely to pot the ball. So practicing this every now and again should show me how to get my cue action to repeat more consistently. This means the 3 things I need to get right are 1. Cueing the more powerful shots smoother and use a slightly longer bridge distance where necessary. I'm looking to avoid extremes of side spin where I can because that makes the pot a lot harder, and practice cueing along the bulk line so I can see where straight is, allowing me to keep my cue action more consistent. But will it work? I'm going to be testing it over the next week, including some games I've got to play, so I can find out if Stephen's advice is going to be helpful or not. I'll explain how that went after we find Alessandro Pizziccano or something like that from Mariba, Australia, which is there. These were only small league games, but I won all 3, and my highest breaks were 32 and 41, which wasn't too bad, but the thing I was happiest with was how smooth I was able to cue the ball during these games. I found this has been really helpful, especially with shots where you have to screw the cue ball back, because I found you can do this with a lot less effort, especially on pressure shots where I'm finding I'm able to get a lot more reaction with less effort. The only issue I've had with this is sometimes I've been pulling the cue back too far and putting a little bit too much effort into it, and that's caused me to play some shots too hard. But after a few days practice, I quickly got used to this, and it's almost completely prevented my cue jumping up off my bridge hand, which was one of my goals for the season, and I'm not snatching at the ball anywhere near as much, so this is definitely a big win. Next is using side spin to help maneuver the cue ball around the table, and this hasn't been anywhere near as helpful, mostly because I explained earlier I already used too much side spin, so really I had to back it off a little bit. But I found with my game it's not really that I'm using too much side, it's that I'm using side when I don't really need to. Like this shot, the obvious shot is to play the stun shot, but for whatever reason I'd always play this shot with a lot of side spin to get back on this red. I have noticed when recreating exhibition shots that you don't need the amount of backspin or side spin I think sometimes, but just for my general game, I don't really think this one's really that helpful for me. Cueing along the bulk line is good for working out where your hand needs to be when you finish playing the shot, but I don't think I've taken full advantage of this yet, and I'm still getting a bit of a wobble as I deliver the cue, so has this really helped? I think this is good advice, but only if you can use it to work out exactly where your hand needs to finish up at the end of the shot. But if you get this right, you should be able to pot the ball without looking at it. Well, it seems to be working then. So the 3 simple snooker tips really have helped improve my game. The third one, cueing along the bulk line, has helped me play the shots more consistently. I don't really think the advice about side spin really helped me that much, but could help other people. And the first one about giving myself more space to cue smoother probably has fixed 2 of the technical goals I set myself for this season. But mostly, striking the ball a lot smoother has at least made me feel a lot more confident. So do I think that Stephen Hendry's best tips have helped my game? I think yes, probably more than I was expecting actually. It's really helped me achieve some of my technical goals this season, and if you want to find out what they were or how I got them right last season, then have a look at these 2 videos. And remember, don't just watch play, and make the commitment to becoming a better player by subscribing to the channel and visit the website. See you later.